All right, we
Mhm.
got it. We back. We back. All right. All right. Let's see here. All right, we got it back. All right. Welcome back, everybody. After realizing that my brother was muted, we just rent and restarted everything. So again, it is AJ, the average fan here, taking the discussion to you guys. We got my brother here for this stream to talk about Caleb Williams' development. We'll be going over what we can do to fix the offensive line via the draft and free agency, also coaching candidates, and then we will make predictions for tomorrow's wild card round games. So, Dakota, the first time we were in the middle of talking about, Caleb Williams's development, and the first question that I asked you was, do you think that his development was stunted because of uh, not having correlation between coaches throughout an entire season, because you saw Thomas Brown go from, you know, passing coordinator to offensive coordinator to head coach. So Caleb Williams had to deal with three different offensive coordinators in one season. He had to deal with two different head coaches in the same season. So he had a really tough time with continuity. So how much do you think that that could have affected his growth in his rookie season?
Yeah, I mean, certainly a good bit, but I think he showed this year why he was the number one pick, and he still overcame that and had very similar stats to who will most likely become rookie of the year in Jaden Daniels. Even with all those troubles, he still put up 20 touchdowns, six interceptions, threw for 3,500 yards, I believe it was. Yeah, 3,500 yards, which was most for rookie in Bears franchise history. Um, so I think it definitely hurt some things for sure. And it certainly created some bad habits, and they kept some of his bad habits from USC, where he's kind of running around, taking some of those sacks, just extending plays way too long, which you just can't do in the NFL. And I think it certainly, like I said, it certainly played a little part, but he showed why he was the number one overall pick, and for the most part, he overcame a lot of it, but it certainly did play a little part in it, and he'll have some bad habits to fix next year.
And then my other question to you was, uh, you know, do you think that if the offensive line was any better, or perhaps if Thomas Brown may have been, say, offensive coordinator all season just to give him that continuity, do you think that he posts any sort of better stats? Do you think that maybe he's potentially the first Bears quarterback to eclipse 4,000 yards in a season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you can't really tell, right? But I think it would have played a little bit of a part. I mean, with some of how the problems were with the offense in the other part of the season, and us not fixing it till almost 8 weeks into the year. And then obviously going through three other different versions of it, right? Through the rest of the season, that's a problem. So I think if you had that continuity and just the consistency, it probably would have played a little bit different. But then again, like I said, there certainly was some times where he hindered himself, or his offensive line certainly didn't do him any good, having the third most sacked quarterback in NFL history. So a lot of things went into it, and I think obviously coaching played a little part, but they didn't hurt him too badly. I really don't think.
Right, because the one thing that, what we just brought up a minute ago before we restarted this was, I had said that, in the first 6 weeks of the season, you could see where Caleb Williams had the ability to lead defensive backs and safeties with his eyes away from where he was throwing the ball, and after the bye, after that Hail Mary, it seemed like that kind of went away. Um, do you think that do you think that he actually, regressed, or do you think that it was just the rest of the team regressing around him? Because the way that I saw it was he was trying to still play the same way that he did the first 4 weeks, but the strength of the offensive line just wasn't allowing him to do so. And the pocket started collapsing a lot faster later in the year, and he was forced to try to extend plays, which also led to sacks. So, I mean, you know, do you think that that's something that can where you could revert that back to what we saw the first 6 weeks of the season, like with a better head coach, with a better offensive line, if you can fix that through the draft and free agency?
Well, you can fix that certainly, but I mean, it also goes back to it's just simply the amount of times he got hit through the year. By week 10, he was obviously the most sacked quarterback in the league, and partially his own fault, his line's fault, maybe his coaches calling plays, that don't even have a chance to develop or whatever it may have been. But you just develop those bad habits after that many hits, and it's hard to see the field as good as you were the first 6 weeks when you're getting killed, no matter what. And
And
that's
it's
his
it's
own fault too. I mean, he took a
it's
lot of
it's
sacks
really
on
good that you
himself.
just saw that, or that you just said that it's really hard to see the field, because later in the season, more specifically like the last 3 games or 4 games with those divisional games and something else, and the game against Seattle, there was plays where Caleb wasn't seeing a wide open receiver in the middle of the field. Do you think that do you think that that's an issue because of the type of play calling, or like you said, because of those bad habits being developed with 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 the offensive line letting pressure get to him so fast, he just wasn't able to see what was right in front of his face? And what I mean by that is, do you think that there was design plays to go to designed receivers to where he was looking in a direction where he couldn't see the wide open part of the field?
Well, there should be. I mean, that's how a game plan is made, though. I mean, you watch film all week and know what their tendencies are going to be on certain downs, so you call certain plays to beat what they're in that exact play. And sometimes you're only going to have one read, but again, it's a little bit on everyone, right? It's certainly play calling at times, but it's and not just on your O line, but once those bad habits start to get formed, even when he has a tight pocket, he's just not seeing the field as well. But you could see towards the end of the season again, he started to kind of get that energy back a little bit, and he, led us on a game-winning drive against the Packers. We were a blocked kick away from being 2-0 against them this year in his rookie season. And arguably, I have written down there was 6 game-winning drives this year in total, and only one of those resulted in a win. So there's so many positives, but you just got to break the bad habits next year. And I think coming in, and I'll get to that in the coaching section when we get to it. Coming in, that has to be your biggest selling point and talking point with the next head coach coming in is obviously clearly what's best for Caleb Williams first, and how are you going to erase what happened last year in a quick amount of time, because this roster is not a bad roster.
Yeah, because like you said, 6 game-winning drives, right? Um, a lot of those wound up resulting in a loss mainly because of the coaching problems, bad clock management, not
Well, almost all those losses were on our coaching staff for sure.
yeah, bad time management, not having players set the way that they should be set to run a play. There was one where you had a chance to run that play with Roshan Johnson's and Kramer, and he forgot to report in. It was right before the half in that Detroit game. So it's like you keep shooting yourself in the foot so many ways that are
Well, yeah, and
out of control of the players, right? Like how can you grade how can you grade or put some of these failures on Caleb Williams' shoulders when you know it wasn't his fault? Like you said, 6 game-winning drives that should be 6 wins in the win column that are not wins in the win column because of your coaching.
yeah, but that's also why you draft him number one, right? When you draft a quarterback number one, you have a quarterback that should be able to come in and, as he did at times, overcome those coaching errors. He still led those drives, right? We only were one of five or one of six, I believe it was, and only won one of them, and that was last week against Green Bay. But even with some of those errors and those coaching mistakes, he was still leading them downfield, and that's to me is just so positive, because I don't remember the last time the Bears quarterback, even Fields, that if it was 2 minutes left in the game, I'm worrying about where Fields' blindside sack is coming from, strip sack to end the game. Every time Caleb Williams would come in, I was excited, and all right, he's got to give us a chance to go win this football game, and he did. Almost week
Well,
in and
yeah,
week out. And certainly
and
there's a good 3 4 week stretch that he just did not play well at all. But you're gonna have those growing pains. and those growing pains are
Well,
going to
yeah,
be enhanced when you have other problems around you. But
here's
you
the
still
here
got to overcome it. And the biggest thing for me is I think he got a lot of hate from his styles in college, and me personally, I don't like the whole nail painting thing and stuff like that, right? But if you're gonna win football games, damn
Hey,
it,
listen,
I'll
yeah,
do it. I'm
if you're gonna
for it.
listen, if you're
And
gonna take us
he proved to everyone this year
if you're
that
gonna take us
that
to
whole
the
toughness, the mental toughness thing, that was bullcrap. Throw that out the window. He's the third most sacked quarterback in NFL history. He still stood up every single week and vouched for his O line. Still stood up every week and came with smiles to the media. Was respectful. Okay, he's gonna be all right.
I'll address that in two parts. One, I agree. I'm not a fan of, painting your nails and being all glamorous, but hey, if you take us to the promised land and you win a Super Bowl, I'll start painting my nails with you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I
go
mean
for
that's
it.
just my generation, man.
And
There's
it's
gonna
like,
be some
and
different guys coming out of the draft, but I
and
don't give a damn. The locker room loves him. He's a leader. He's a captain for a reason as a rookie, and
and I gotta
you
ask
know,
you one thing. Do you think that it was honestly worth it for the Bears to march
AJ
him?
Shelley says you're not live.
Yeah, I am.
He says you're not on YouTube.
Yeah, I am. I literally have it up on my phone right now. So if someone
He
comes in to
says on
chat,
YouTube he's on.
like I can see it. I'm looking at it right now.
Hold on. On YouTube?
Is
No,
that,
she said he's live on YouTube.
or are they trying to watch it on Facebook or something?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's YouTube.
Tell her I've sent her a video of his on YouTube that she can go to his page.
Um,
I will. Or wait, AJ, you have your phone. Send her like a thing to your YouTube page.
all right,
You
yeah,
want? Just could come in here and laugh at us.
that's fine. Come in here and laugh all you want. Who am I sending it to, Shelly?
Shelly.
Um, oh Jesus. Well, here, while I do this, I'll ask you the question I was gonna ask. Um, do you think that it was really worth when you knew that your season was over with the way that your offensive line is? Do you really think it was worth letting Caleb go out there the last 2 or 3 games of the year, getting absolutely killed, like and risking an injury to him? Do you really think that that was worth it?
Yeah, because I don't think he'd let himself not play. I mean, he's not gonna just not play, but
I mean, no, that's fair. Like oh, I just sent her your welcome. I just fat fingered one of the quick responses. um, but no, I mean, do you like you said, the mental toughness? I mean, every time that he got sacked, he got up and then he continuously backed up his offensive line, right? And for a rookie
yeah, he got the
quarterback,
shit beat out of him.
yeah, I mean, for a rookie quarterback to take 68 sacks and still stand up and finish a game, that's the other thing I was worried about too, was coaches not taking him out of the game when it was really obvious that he could take a serious injury if you keep letting him finish these games out when there's nothing on the line in terms of going anywhere in the postseason or what have you. Like, is it really worth, your star quarterback getting injured right before the offseason? Like, I don't understand why nobody in the Bears organization was like, hey, maybe we just sit him for the last 2 games. It's not worth our star quarterback getting hurt.
Like I said, I just don't think he would have like even let them take him out for those last two games. I agree in like late some of those late game situations where game was already well out of reach or times where he came in when he just shouldn't have at the end of the game. But
Yeah.
to sit him in those last two games, I even with the problems you had this year, I think that would just kind of hinder development. That's just less time on the field.
And I mean, what is it fair to
You
say?
gotta play. You gotta play as many games as you can. He's only played so many.
Is it fair to say that even though he was kind of crutched right at the get-go because of the coaching staff, But is it fair to say that he probably learned a lot just on his own? Because like my correlation is that I don't think that Mitch Trubisky or even Justin Fields really learned what, Caleb Williams learned on his own in his rookie season.
Well, his mental capacity for the game is so much stronger than those two guys. That's why.
Oh yeah, I
I mean,
mean,
that's the biggest thing. But that's why I just said you don't sit him those last two games because just playing, you're gonna learn. You got to see those defenses, man. Every single team, week 1 through week 17, is gonna throw 40 different variations of defense at you a game. So you just got to see it. You got to play.
yeah, and
And I
then
mean, he's going to get beat up, but that's our GM's fault for not building a line around the guy.
right, and
That's not his fault. He's still got to go out there and play ball.
that leads me right into my next question is, do you think that Caleb Williams is in a stronger position than, say, Fields was, or maybe even like in his draft class, like Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix going into year two? Because the Bears know that they need to focus on two sole areas, and that's their offensive line and their defensive line. Do you think that there's actual, like, legitimate chances here that, the Bears actually get him the help outside of a coach? But
Well,
you,
I think they'll get him the help he needs this year. I mean, but as opposed to those two other guys, they both have the same coach next year. So even though he was the number one pick, and I still think he's the best of any of those guys, Bo Nix is in the playoffs this year with Sean Payton, a well-established coach. Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels are going to the playoffs. They're both going to be back next year with the same offense, same coach, same team. They already know that system. Caleb's already going to have another system coming in, so they're already, a whole year ahead of him, which sucks. But he has again showed this year that he'll get through those things. But
well,
I
like
think
we
next
said,
year to go into next year just expecting to just dominate just would be
it
they'd be
was
asinine.
it was like we said earlier.
They're definitely like Jaden and Bo are both in a better position right now. I think Bo has a worse roster, and I think Jaden has a worse roster around him. But they both are going to have the same coaching staff, the same playbook. They're definitely ahead,
Well, yeah,
unfortunately.
I mean, but like I'm saying like, oh man, how do I say this? It's like, Caleb Caleb can show a stronger year two than those guys if you get him the help, right?
Well, they're gonna get him the help, but again, you're bringing in a whole new system, dude. That's the biggest problem. He has to learn a whole new offense again next year. That takes a whole year to learn already. Those guys now Jaden is gonna know every route of every play next year. He's gonna know where his third tight end should be on that play week 1. Caleb is gonna have some of those miscommunications again already next year just from a new system. So it's hard to say that for sure.
Do you think though that,
Because right now, both of those other guys are on playoff football teams, and they were so much more consistent all year long.
do you think
Like the
though
team around them,
do you at least think that coaching wise he'll be in
like
a
the
better
Bears are
spot
ready.
year two?
Than those guys, no,
No,
because
no,
they're
no, 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 just Caleb by himself. Do you think that he'll be in a better position year two,
well, you
saying
would
that you're giving him, a competent head coach and a competent coordinator?
you would sure hope so. Otherwise, they already failed their coaching search year 1 for
Well,
sure.
yeah.
He better be in a better position than this year. But those guys are going to be in year 2 of the same system. Now Caleb's learning. Now he's learned two different systems in college. He'll be learning a second different system in 2 years in the NFL. It takes a while to dominate your playbook and know every in and out of it. And especially like you bring a guy in that I would hope like Ben Johnson, that's completely different style offense.
Do you think that the Bears brass finally does it right and they at least get him the offensive line help that he needs?
Well, they better, otherwise Ryan Poles will be fired next year.
Well, yeah, no, I mean obviously,
That's his
but
only job this year is to get offensive line help and defensive line help. So I would sure hope so, for
like
sure.
what positions do you think matter the most on the offensive line to address? Because I know that you have notes on that.
The entire offensive line other than Darnell Wright. Tevin,
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't mind bringing Tevin back, but he's just
he can't.
fragile. You got to bubble wrap him. But if
I
when
was
he's
gonna.
on the field, he's top five at his position. But it's if he takes a team friendly deal, bring him back and see what happens. But make sure you have the proper depth.
Well, I mean that would
Because
be that.
this year they weared so thin they had no depth, and there was teams. I mean, look at Detroit. I mean, there's no excuses in Detroit. They're almost whole starting defense is on injured reserve, and they are a number one seed and gonna hopefully win a Super Bowl for themselves.
Well,
But that ties into how bad the coaching was.
when you say depth, I ironically think that this is a problem in all of Chicago sports right now. Like this is also a problem with the Cubs, the Blackhawks, the White Sox. When someone goes down with an injury, they don't have even though they have the next man up mentality, they don't really have the next man
They
up
don't
that
have the
can play.
guy.
Yeah, that's just it. They don't have the guy. And what really blew my
It's never
mind
gonna change.
what
I hope
really
it does, but
what really blew my mind is Darnell Wright ranked in the top 5 at his position on the PFF grading. Because like by the eye test, he did not look like a top 5 at his position, but according to PFF, he's in the top 5 in every single category for his
yeah.
position. It's run blocking, it's pass blocking, it's everything. I was like, whoa, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, he played well. I mean, he didn't play great, but he was top five in his position, top eight or whatever it was, may have been. But yeah, I mean, he certainly played phenomenal in my eyes, and he didn't get many penalties. But other than him, your entire offensive line better be different. And other than, I mean, yeah, there's a few guys in free agency you can look at, but a lot of those guys are going to be up there in age. So I'd prefer you just send your whole draft and build the whole line and get a couple interior D linemen and go from there.
So do you think it's worth getting anybody in free agency, even if it's on like a 1 or 2 year deal to kind of help, rookies develop on that offensive line?
Yeah, and for depth, especially if they'll take a decent deal. But a lot of those guys are going to want to go to a team that they can win now. But if you could get them at a good deal, for sure.
Because I mean, we could talk about this more in the coaching section too, but I think like the best way that I could really describe this is kind of the DeAndre Swift, Roshan Johnson situation. Like I thought Roshan Johnson would get used a lot more than the way that he did like this entire season. He basically got used on 4th and 1 and then like 1st and goal to go at the 1 yard line. Pretty much like you never saw him in there on a first down on a 1st and 10. Like that he was non-existent it seemed like. And same with who's that third string? Travis Homer? Is that who's the third string running back?
Yeah, I don't even know who's our third string at this point, to be honest. I think so.
But but yeah, I mean, from top to bottom, I mean, just the coaching decisions on how to use certain personnel, like Cole Kmet getting like no targets this year at all. Like last year, he was uh, one of the top three targeted tight ends in the league, which is how he got his contract extension, and then you don't use him at all. Make that
Yeah,
make sense?
no, that's why the entire staff got fired.
I mean, outright. I mean, yeah.
I mean,
Before we get into, do you want to talk about who you are looking at, like in draft and free agency? Do you have that list?
I have a few guys from the draft wise. From it, mainly, I hope you take Will Campbell with your top 10 pick from LSU. He's a tackle, but he could play anywhere. He could play guard, he could play any tackle position. He's a freak, probably the best lineman in the draft. Um, Guy's still playing right now at Ohio State. He'll be playing for national championship. Josh Simmons. He's also a tackle, but he could play really anywhere. But played majority of tackle in college. And then I can't remember his first name properly. I think it's Arante Ursi from Minnesota. He's a tackle. He's gonna be big, especially if you get a guy like Ben Johnson who likes to swing his tackles a lot. He's one of those like Penei Sewell type guys. He can really move quick and really be a swing tackle, which would be key in that kind of coaching decision with Ben Johnson. But that depends what kind of offense you're bringing here too. But other than that, I mean, you keep Darnell Wright. If Tevin wants to come back on a friendlier deal, which doesn't sound like he is, sounds like he wants to get his money, which go ahead and try. I don't know who's going to really give him a lot of money for how hurt he's been, but
I was gonna say I don't know why you're gonna try to go get money when you know you can't stay on the field.
if he could find a way to keep him healthy, he's a stud, and I really wanted him to work out, but guy can't stay healthy.
And then the other thing I wanted to touch on was Ryan Poles knew apparently that there was a big issue with how the offense was working in uh not the preseason but training camp. Uh, why do you think that none of that was ever really addressed until, like you said, week 8 of the season?
I mean, it's hard to tell, but I mean, I also think Poles still has to, get true permission from a lot of top brass. So I think he was trying to get through a lot of loopholes. It sounded like he wanted to get rid of the coaching staff earlier on, and they said no, but it's also just a rumor, so don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like everything has to go through the McCaskies, and really, I mean, that's just kind of a really backwards way of running an organization because, your GM and your president should be making those decisions, and basically the McCaskies should just be there to sign paychecks. Like you look at any successful organization, look at Detroit. I mean, there's no way that their president and
Well,
ownership
now
is
look at
making.
Detroit.
Yeah,
They
that's what
were
I'm
they
saying.
were where we were for our whole lives, but they're good now.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what
That's
I'm
the
saying
problem.
though.
We have
Like,
shitty ownership,
that's what
and it
I'm
won't
saying. Like,
change until they sell.
yeah, I mean, you can even look at what Tampa Bay did with Tom Brady those 2 years, right? Like, the ownership is the ones that aren't making those decisions. It's the general manager, and then the ownership's just paying, signing the paychecks. Why does Chicago have to do things completely backwards? I don't understand. I mean, yeah, they're a cash cow for an organization, but it's like,
That's all they care about.
yeah, why don't you care about putting a decent product out on the field? Like, why don't you care about getting back to a Super Bowl? Why can't you care about, I mean, well, let's just face it. I mean,
Well, they say they do.
Soldiers
They don't.
Field, let's just be honest. Soldiers Field's always going to be sold out. It's never going to be an empty stadium. No one they're never going to boycott Chicago to the point where they stop showing up to football games. That'll
I
never
don't
happen.
disagree.
So it's like they know that. I mean, they're not. I mean, Chicago is, one of the most faithful in terms of fan base in all of Major League sports. I mean, you could look at it with the Cubs too when they were the lovable losers. I mean, Wrigley Field was still packed even though they weren't going anywhere. You could another good example, Green Bay. They're always sold out too, but they also put a good product out on the field.
Yeah,
Um,
they actually win games. We don't.
yeah, and I mean that's just the difference between like a bottom of the barrel franchise and like a true poverty franchise. Because like poverty would be like Tennessee. They put a shit product out on the field and their stadium is empty. So like they don't have, like we have such a loyal fan base. It sucks that we have to sit here and watch ownership do things completely backwards. And we're sitting here like you literally need like two more things. The answer is right in front of your face. What are you doing?
Yeah, they never learn, man. So I don't have that much faith, even when we sit here and talk about it, but
I mean,
can only help.
when we were 4-2, the entire league thought the entire NFC North was going to be in the playoffs. Like, and then
Yeah.
your coaching decisions and you're not allowing your GM to make decisions on your coaches led you to be what
And your play on the field too, though. You
four
had
and
DJ
13?
Moore. DJ Moore got paid, and he was still complaining and bitching about targets and all being an idiot on the field when he was still one of the most targeted players in the league. So it's also the play on the field. At some point, you guys go even with bad coaching and a lot of problems around you. You gotta do something about it. I mean, a lot of the times these guys are complaining and they're not, doing something about it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, when you go on a 10-game losing streak, like how hard is it to not complain about what's going on the field, right? Like,
I mean, I know I'm not in their position, but it'd be pretty hard to complain when I'm getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars.
I mean,
You know,
you know
it'd be
what?
pretty hard to complain. So just go play ball.
I mean, yeah, no, that's fair. Because I mean, like you said,
That's your job. You're playing a child's game, man.
like
Go
I've
just go play ball.
I've talked about this in so many episodes. The problem that I have is one, it was always the coaching, but two, there's so much raw talent on both sides of the ball. Like it's ridiculous. Like I still fully believe that Tyreek Stevenson can turn his act around and he could be a really good complementary corner to Jalen Johnson. I really think that Tremaine Edmonds was a terrific pickup. I'm really happy that we still have Kevin Byard for one more year to try to help maybe like a rookie develop next year. Like there is raw talent on both sides of the ball, and the problem is that either your offense is playing good and your defense didn't show up, or your defense is holding you into games, and then your coaching absolutely destroys any chance of you going on these game-winning drives, like we talked about.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but you do also, again, you just got to shut up and play ball. Like, I understand them
Yeah,
being upset and pissed off, but go do your job. Even if you're losing, gotta do your job. Things hopefully will turn around, you know?
yeah. I mean, I want to see
The
them.
more you bitch and complain, the worse things get.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously it's easy for us to do because we're just fans. It's not like we're making the decisions for the Chicago Bears, right? Like
Well,
we're
yeah.
just Monday quarterbacks basically. But um, is Dad still doing his cooking thing? Is he gonna drop in for this coaching discussion, or what are we moving on to next?
I don't know. We can go into it. He can come down and give us 2 cents.
All right, yeah. First, one more thing on Caleb. So here's the funny thing. Uh, in the top for the top five of Chicago quarterback stats, uh it was Doug Kramer, and then it was Jay Cutler, Jay Cutler, Jay Cutler, Jay Cutler, Jay Cutler, right? And as a rookie, Caleb Williams put himself fourth on that list while getting sacked 68 times. I just want to point that out there.
Yeah, well, we don't have many good records to be proud of either.
I mean, listen, that's fair, but all I'm saying is that he managed to do that when, you know, already established quarterbacks were putting up those sort of numbers in a Bears uniform. He did it in his rookie season. Like that's just like the distinction I'm trying to make there. Like that's just how much raw talent and ability he has, even with the lack of coaching and the lack of structure, I guess.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I like I said, I
Hopefully they
hope
get the right coach.
I
And
hope to
hopefully
get
it's Ben Johnson.
I hope to God, man, look, I've been the more I talk to Dad about this, and the more that I watch like ESPN and I watch Locked On Bears, CHGO Bears, the Windy City Breeze. The more I watch them, dude, like I've been talking myself into Pete Carroll so much, it's not even funny.
No, that's what you and Dad are talking about. You guys are gross.
But like, no, just hear me out though,
If
cause
you're gonna bring in someone with experience, at least bring someone like a little younger, like Vrabel. He's one of the guys on my list. Vrabel's younger, and the Titans did him wrong, and he got fired because he didn't like the decisions they were making, and they didn't like that he had say.
Well,
Pushback.
yeah, I mean that's fair, but like you need somebody who can set a culture and do it like now. And you need someone who has been there, done that. And Pete Carroll's been to three Super Bowls with Seattle. He's won one. Uh, he never had a losing season in Seattle except for his last year, I think. So, like when you look at Pete Carroll and you look at what he did with Seattle, like you knew what their culture was. Like they were all vultures to the football. It didn't matter if it was defense or offense. Whoever had the ball, there was people moving to block. There was people trying to push the pile along. Like there was a clear culture in Seattle. And I mean, let's be honest, Pete Carroll's a fucking maniac because of the things that he does on the sidelines. But I want a coach that does things like that on the sidelines. Because I mean, you go and score a touchdown. You just saw Eberflus just like,
Yep,
eh,
and you'll
eh,
get that out of Ben Johnson too.
but it's like,
He's been dominating the league for 3 straight years, innovating every year with the Lions, with Jared Goff of all quarterbacks,
I,
making him
yeah, no, Jared
back
Goff,
to
that's crazy.
a tremendous talent. And he still continues to dominate, still continues to innovate, still continues to be better. And I want to have a dominating offense. We've never had one in Chicago, and I want an offensive minded coach. The biggest reason you bring in someone as a DC with a defensive minded coach, and he has a successful team, right? Which you hope is going to happen. Then you're bringing in a new OC every 2 years because your OC is going to get a head coaching job, and then Caleb has a different OC every 2 years again. I want a head coach that is going to be there with Caleb for the next 10 years with him and be his play callers. Things don't always have to change. Defenses, there's plenty of good defensive minds.
Well, I mean, also, I mean, I think it's fair to state that never in our lifetimes have we had like a truly terrible defense. Like I've always
No,
witnessed.
but we've never had a good offense ever. We've never had a 4,000-yard passer, and that's like the new norm.
I mean, yeah, I mean while that is pretty much the new league norm, anywhere between 3,800 and 4,200 yards, it's like,
And you got
it,
to score points in today's league.
well, yeah, but I mean, I would argue the only like
But
really good, the only good, true good Bears offense that I ever saw was '06, and even they weren't, in the top five of the league. They got to the Super Bowl because of their defense. Like that was when, the Bears were
yeah,
known as the monsters of the Midway because Urlacher, Briggs, and Brown and Tillman, they would fuck you up. I mean, if you better hope to God that when you catch the ball, they're not within 5 yards of you or you were getting killed.
yeah, it's the exact reason why I want to have a dominant offense for once. It's league where 80% of teams have a good offense. I want to finally be one of them.
Well, I
But
mean,
the only
and that's
downside to Ben Johnson is he's again would be a first-time head coach. That's your only question mark is how would he respond to that? And that's where I would like an experienced coach, but
see, and the
fuck
other
it. He's gotta develop.
the other problem that I have with that is would not how he would take off as a rookie head coach, but how would he deal with the Bears structure as a rookie head coach? Because I mean, you look at
Well, he's
Matt
only
Nagy
gonna
and
take it if he likes it. He's only gonna take it if it's perfect for him. So that wouldn't be an
well,
issue if he took the job.
yeah, well, I only say that because you got to look at what happened with Eberflus and Nagy, right? Like since and I was talking to Dad
But
about this,
Nagy
like
was a terrible hire in general. He never even called plays in Kansas City ever. I don't know why they even hired him. I can't believe he's being regarded again.
I don't know. Yeah, who's looking at him? Is it Las
I
Vegas?
think that no, I think the Jets asked for an interview. I don't think it was serious, but
But it's like you got like I think the problem again with Ben Johnson, like it's not so much him being able to be a head coach and be a good head coach. It's just being a head coach for the Bears because of the way that they run the organization.
but
Like,
that you could say that with any head coach for the Bears. They've tried to bring in a guru like Nagy. They've tried to bring in an experienced guy before. They've tried to bring in they try and they always fail.
well, I mean, I don't know if that's just because the guy that they're bringing in as a coach just isn't that good, or is it because of the
It's
team?
because they're terrible owners of an
Well,
organization.
that's what I'm saying. Is it the organization having their coaches'
Ben
hands tied
Johnson is the
behind their
right
back?
guy for this kind of roster, I believe. But that's just my opinion, and that's all it's an opinion.
Like, why would if it wasn't Ben Johnson, why a guy like Vrabel? What's your opinion on him?
Well, that's the guy that has experience, and you even heard, I think it was Demarcus Walker in his end of season press conference saying he heard the rumor of Vrabel being a candidate. He said a lot of bull crap would end around here. So Vrabel, those kind of coaches that have that experience, him or Carroll, you're guaranteed they're going to set a good culture. You've seen in their past they set a good culture in their locker room. They know how to put a decent product on the field. But they're both out of jobs right now because they couldn't innovate to the new NFL. How can they re-innovate themselves again? And it worked for some of the guys. It worked for Dan Quinn when he went back to Dallas as a DC after the Falcons didn't work, and now he found himself the perfect situation with Jane Daniels. And look at him in his first year going to the playoffs. So it can work for those guys, but I'd more like to see a guy like Ben Johnson that's for multiple years in a row been at the top of the league in offensive numbers. Take the chance on him. Do it. Give him all the money he wants.
What about
Throw the book at him.
why do you say no to a guy like Pete Carroll?
But I mean, that's like my same reason saying no to Vrabel. It's just because they've already done it and they ran their course. But there's not saying they can't re-innovate. And again, it would be nice that their culture is already for sure they're going to set the right culture. But I don't know. I'd just rather have an innovative young mind in today's NFL because that's what it is.
And then I was gonna say, what would you rather have? Somebody who sets the right culture right away, or somebody who knows how to take advantage of every player right away? Because I think that that would be the biggest difference between a guy like Ben Johnson and a guy like Pete Carroll.
Culture. I mean, you definitely want to set the culture right away.
So then,
Dad, you
would
want to give your 2 cents on your coaching hire? We're about to wrap up here. All right, get in here. Oh
oh, dude, you're gonna have to give him a. Can he hear me through your
no,
phone or?
I'm gonna take my headphones out. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can still hear. I can hear the fridge in the background a little bit, but I can still hear you.
That's all right. You got to pull up a chair though, Dad.
All right, pull her up. Let's go. Let's have a combo.
We already gave our 2 cents, and mine was Ben Johnson.
Okay. Well, I should probably put a Bears hat on, right? Hold on. All right, we good?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Where'd Dakota go?
So, bathroom upstairs. But here's what I'm thinking about the Bears coaching thing. Okay, I do like the Ben Johnson. He's the next up and comer. Which is awesome. But what I think the Bears need to do is go to a proven coach. And why I say this, and I've told you that before, AJ, is they're not ready for another up and coming coach or another up and coming, coordinator. We got to establish a culture. And the Bears say it all day long, and we have zero culture. So when you have a Pete Carroll, or you have a, Vrabel, or you have, one of those guys, again, you're not doing this for the long haul to hire these guys. You want them for the next probably year and a half to maybe 3 years to get things going right for the Bears. And again, Ben Johnson may come in and win 2 Super Bowls. Who the hell knows? I mean, you never know, right? Because it's a newer coach. But I'm telling you, you got to have someone that comes in and starts the culture, quote unquote, that the Bears say they have, which they don't have right now, and get that going. And I think that's a Pete Carroll, or a Ron Rivera, or somebody else. But it's not a first time head coach. The Bears do not need an up and comer right now. They need to really just have someone that sets the tone for the next 20 years. And that's not a Ben Johnson, in my opinion.
That's a Ben Johnson, in my opinion, every fucking day, and twice on every goddamn Sunday, baby.
Well, like we'd been talking about this probably throughout the last like week or two. The thing the thing that turns me away from a Ben Johnson is just like you said, he's he's a first timer, he's not proven. You don't really know what he is or what he's got, and you don't know what kind of culture he could build. You would imagine that it's probably a culture similar to what he has in Detroit under Dan Campbell, but at the same time, you don't know what kind of culture he would build. Whereas with a Pete Carroll, you know exactly what kind of culture that he would bring to the Bears. He was always up and down the sidelines, jumping, screaming, hollering. He's
Well, whoa, 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 whoa. It's not to even jump and hollering. It's just more of here's the structure. The Bears have no structure. And I don't think you can actually gamble, and not to much, AJ, to gamble on a Ben Johnson when you need to have a lot of structure put in place. Because this is not a 1 or 2 year thing with the Bears. It's not even close. This is a 3 to 4 year thing. Because you got to get these guys on the right track. And I think of Ben Johnson, yeah, he's the, and again, don't get me wrong, he's the hot coach. He does great. So we talked about this the other night. He does great in Detroit. But does he want the responsibility of having to have the whole enchilada right behind him? No, because he has a very good head coach, which obviously he does. You know, so he don't have to worry about all the other stuff that comes with the head coaching position.
And kind of like what we had already talked about too is, again, why wouldn't Detroit give Ben Johnson enough money to make him the highest paid OC um in the entire NFL, and just not have him leave Detroit at all, where that could be a possibility too. So you might be taking him off of the table altogether. Whereas, like I said, with Pete Carroll, here's my other question: is that we've already seen the Bears get uncomfortable with themselves and fire a head coach midseason because they've never done that before. Do you
Yep,
think do you
fair.
think do you think that it's time that the Bears get themselves a head coach that makes them uncomfortable? Like, in terms of,
Yes,
no,
100%.
this is the way I'm going to run my offense. This is the way I'm going to run my
Yes.
defense. This is the way I'm going to talk to the media. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. This is how an organization should be run from head coach down.
Yes. So you're talking about a Mike Ditka, quote unquote.
Yeah,
or a Carroll or a Vrabel.
Yes, or a Carroll or
You
Vrabel.
need
Dakota's right, absolutely.
But I still want Ben Johnson.
Okay, can we talk? Okay, what Ben Johnson is proven as a head.
This, you weren't down here when I was talking about it. That's my only con. I going to be as a head coach.
But you're walking into a shit situation with a team that fucking sucks.
Right.
Oh, wait, can I swear or no?
Yeah, you can swear.
Okay.
But
that's why you got to come in with even if, let's just say, let's just say we get a Pete Carroll. Yeah, give me him for 2-3 years just to set the standard of how NFL football should be played. Okay? Or maybe, and again, maybe it's Brown. Maybe Brown stays out. And then, because he was doing pretty good before he had to be the quote-unquote head coach, and then you hire someone like that. But someone that comes into this organization that sets.
Oh, hold on. You guys are
Job. I've been there 20 years.
The one thing.
hold on, Dakota, hold on. Whatever you guys just said, your audio split up like really bad for a second. Like, I can see your lips moving. I don't hear you.
I don't like that it's the first time.
I can't hear you. I can see you guys talking, but I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I had my AirPod in my hand, so it was thinking it was in my ear.
Okay, so can you hear us?
Now I can hear you, but whatever you just said in the last 2 minutes, I couldn't hear a word of it.
Okay, so all I'm saying is this. I mean, you look at the hot guy, right? Which is Ben Johnson. And I'm not saying that's a wrong fucking idea because the guy is really good. But does Johnson really want the responsibility of having to be the whole enchilada, the whole guy? Because when you look at the Detroit Lions, you've got Campbell that takes off a lot of pressure between the OC and the DC. And they do really well. And trust me, they do really well. But I just don't – I really think right now the Bears do not need a first-time head coach, whether it be him or not. Seriously. They got to have a guy that comes in like a Carroll, like a Vrabel, like a Ron Rivera that's been there, done that. Get a actual culture set and then move on to a next coach. That's why that's why, AJ, I think the Bears need someone that's been there, done that.
So I'll just ask you this one more time, just in case this was when the audio kind of went out and I didn't catch everything you said. So do you think that it is worth the Bears getting a head coach that makes ownership uncomfortable?
100%, dude. Oh, 100%. Well, just like Mike Ditka did. Now I'm hoping the ownership, is fine with that, but absolutely. Because if, dude, you know me, I've been in my job for 20 years. If you don't make things uncomfortable, then that's a problem. Because once you become, or I don't want to, like, quote unquote, rock the boat, yeah, then you will not be good. Whether it be in business or a team, you won't be good.
So then, so with the Bears obviously doing what we've never seen before and firing a head coach and an offensive coordinator for the first time, what do you think the actual odds are that they actually do it the right way and get this type of head coach like a Pete Carroll, Vrabel, Rivera, whichever one it ends up being? Like, what do you think the odds are that they actually wind up, getting a coach like that that can help set the culture, set,
Are you there or no?
yeah, I got you. Can you not?
Oh, are
You
you
got
there now?
Yeah, you got me. I could hear you the whole time. You good? Dakota, your thing went.
No, I can hear you.
Yeah, but your audio is cutting in and out.
I
Hey,
don't have it.
do you have AT&T in Nashville?
Yeah, but it's Xfinity at this house.
That's the problem. What are you gonna do?
It ain't Spectrum.
It ain't Spectrum, baby. But no, but still, to answer your question, AJ, I don't believe the Bears can do the right thing.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I just don't, dude, because we've seen it so many times. But here's the thing. I mean, if you can get somebody like a Carroll, Vrabel's off we know him. That's fine. But
Yeah, he's going to New England.
the reason why I want Pete Carroll, and I told you this, AJ, is because he will set a standard. And again, we're not going to be good for a couple years, but he will set that standard. And that's why I want him so bad. And I don't know why the Bears are not fucking just saying, you know what, this is our guy. You cannot have a Ben Johnson come into this team, in this organization, and win. Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
For the record, since it's going on YouTube, I do think he can. And when we hire him, because that's who we're going to hire,
No.
he's going to win us the Super Bowl.
No.
And
no.
Dad, I'm going to be able to tell Dad, I told you so.
Great. And you know what? And AJ and Dakota, I would love for you to rub it in my face.
I hope I might too.
I would love you to. But no.
I won't be, but I hope so.
You just got to have a guy come in and set a standard. We have no standards right now.
Ben Johnson.
We have none. And I think that's where the Pete Carroll comes in and sets that standard. And guess what? AJ? You might have your next head coach in our OC, but we don't know because we forced him into, well, here we go. You went from passing coordinator to OC to head coach.
Well, right. I mean, yeah, you did him so.
Well, hello, buddy boy. Hello.
You did him so wrong. It wasn't even funny because, again, passing coordinator, offensive coordinator, and we talked about this yesterday too. Where he did fairly well in the first couple of weeks as just the offensive coordinator. Like, you saw a major uptick in the offense. So like you need to be able to give him that time to establish himself and establish how his system works.
Yep, AJ, I cannot agree more with you because when he was just the OC, you can see where he's on there. He's on the bench talking to Caleb. He's doing all this. It was so unfair to put him into a position where it's like, well, now you got the whole deal. Come on, And I really think whoever's the head coach, I really hope they look at, Ben or our guy, not Ben Johnson, but
Thomas
our guy
Brown.
to say, you know what, maybe he's pretty good here with Caleb.
Well, yeah, like I said, I mean, you saw when we got rid of the offensive coordinator, I, for the life of me, cannot think of his damn name.
Shut the fuck up.
But like when you look at
Excuse
Thomas
me.
Brown, when you saw Thomas Brown come in and start talking with Caleb, like you immediately saw an uptick in the offensive production. Like he was able to put points on the board in the first half when the Bears didn't do that for like the 3 games right before that. So like you saw him be able to make that connection, but then you took that connection away by making him the interim head coach, like you were saying.
I agree. I really think that, again, the Bears fans can't be delusional that you're going to bring like a Ben Johnson in. Oh my God, we're going to do what Jim Harbaugh does. No, not even fucking close. Not even close, even though he lost today. But you're not going to bring a fucking Harbaugh in and fucking, we're going to turn this shit around in a fucking heartbeat. No, you're not. No, you're fucking not.
Yeah.
The Bears fans got to realize.
I don't think it would be in a year. But I think he's the right coach.
You need somebody that's going to come in and start moving this fucking ship. And this ship, it's a tanker. It takes a while to move it across the fucking ocean, man.
Yeah, it's been moving for 23 years of my life.
No, but I'm telling you, when it comes to real coaches, it takes some time to move it across the ocean. And that's what we need. We do need a real coach, i.e. a Pete Carroll. Again, the guy's going to fucking be here for 2-3 years, but that's all you need to set the fucking tone. And that's all you need is have a guy come in here and set the tone where the Bears want to go. And AJ, you and I talked about this last night. Just get that ship in the right direction. It's going to take a long time. Don't get us wrong. But just get it going in the right direction. And I think that's a Pete Carroll, a Ron Rivera. And I don't get me wrong. I would love to see McCarthy, but he's no, but no. It's the same. No, yes, absolutely, yes.
But you still want a guy that you think you can go win a Super Bowl with, regardless. And McCarthy is not that.
And okay, look at his record as a coach.
Look at his record in the playoffs. He had one good run in the playoffs.
Well, how about this? Let's make the fucking playoffs.
That's fine, but I want to
just give me the playoffs for one game.
That's fine. I mean, but I'm saying if you're going to hire a guy for Caleb, I want him payroll in the next 10 years. I don't see him being with Caleb the next 10 years.
That's why I love your brother, because he knows football.
I do.
No, and that's why I love your brother, because he knows football. He absolutely does. But I just want the Bears to start swinging in the right fucking direction.
Well, yeah, I mean, me and Dakota mentioned it earlier. Like, this isn't just like even a Bears problem. This is a Chicago sports problem. Like, every team in Chicago's got this problem.
I kind of, I don't know about that, though. But, okay, well.
For the most part, yeah, other than the Hawks dynasty.
Well,
other than that, the Cubs were poverty.
I'm talking in the last 5 years.
Fair enough.
I'm talking in like the last 5 years. Cubs haven't done anything since they made the postseason in 2020.
But we can go as far back as our lives. The Cubs sucked. The Bears, our whole lives, they were good for 1 year in 06 or whatever that was, 05, whatever the fuck year that was. We suck.
We went to the NFC Championship game in 2010. What are you talking about?
We still suck. Okay, that's right. We did against the Packers. I forgot. My bad. You're right. But we still suck. Okay, and we haven't been to a Super Bowl. We've never been to a Super Bowl in my life. Might still not happen. Cubs won one World Series in 108 years. Blackhawks were really good, but now they've been bad for almost a decade going on. 8.5 years. And Connor Bedard's looking worse than ever. And, yeah, so we suck. Bulls suck. They've always sucked.
Connor Bedard
Dad had a good Bulls. The Bulls were good in his lifetime. That was cool.
Connor Bedard's on pace to beat his point total from last year just because he hasn't been injured.
Yeah, just because he's going to be healthy. He just went like 3 weeks without scoring a goal.
Yeah, but you do know that he had a point streak in that 3 weeks because he was getting assists.
There was in a week of that he had not a single point.
But don't. Hey, I'm telling you, do not fucking discount my fucking 6 feet for the fucking Bulls.
I just said that they were good in your lifetime. You're fucking 50. I'm 23.
Oh.
Yeah, you say you're getting old every day, so I'm gonna pull that card.
I love that
because
I'm older. Thank you.
He comes into my room the other day limping. He goes, I think I pulled my hammy for putting log in the fire. Like he was hurting. He's like, I'm old.
Dude, what are you gonna do? I am.
Dad, I'll
Bears
ask.
suck. Hopefully they won't. We'll see.
Yeah, we do not want Ben Johnson.
We want Ben Johnson.
No, we do not. No, we don't.
This is why I've been wanting to do this live stream with you guys for
No,
so
we
long
don't.
because
This
I
is
knew
going
I
on to
knew
YouTube
you
and
guys
those
were gonna
fucking
get in.
people
I
will
knew
say that
you
I'm
guys
right.
were gonna get into it. I knew it.
No, we don't. We want an established coach to get this ship righted. Then you want a Ben Johnson. And that's 2-3 years away yet from a Ben. Because guess what? Guess what, boys? Every year there's a Ben Johnson. Every year. Every year there is.
Yeah, but there's
Am I wrong?
Okay, but okay.
Definitely
but
not wrong.
Is
I
there
agree
a guy
with that.
like Ben Johnson?
Wait. What'd you say, Jay?
No. You listen to me.
I agree with that. There's always a hot new commodity every year.
Now it's my turn.
Exactly.
There's a different hot commodity every year, but there's not a hot commodity that's been a top 3 scoring offense for 3 straight years. It's
Okay.
always the guy that just burst onto the scene.
Okay,
Ben
right,
Johnson has been. He was wanted last year, and he said no, I'm staying here.
Right.
He's wanted again this year.
With smart
That's
man.
my only
Because
swing and I'm fucking miss home run if you take one.
why
Ben
do you
Johnson.
so why do you think Ben Johnson last year said nope, I'm staying here?
Because he knew he had a perfect situation.
Right. So
But every guy
you
still
just said it.
But every
No,
guy
'cause
still wants to become a head coach, and since he took the interview this year, it means he wants to become one now.
I'm telling you, the Bears don't need Ben Johnson.
In Ben Johnson's own words, he said word for word that he was staying in Detroit because he had unfinished business. He wants to go win a Super Bowl with Dan Campbell.
Yeah,
really
and
bad.
he's gonna this year, and then
Yes.
he's gonna come to Chicago and coach against Dan
No,
Campbell twice
no,
a fucking year,
no,
and we're gonna
no.
beat him twice a year, and then we'll maybe beat the Packers
No,
once a year, and then
No,
we'll go to the playoffs.
no. I do not want Ben Johnson at all.
Hey, your YouTube people. When you look at this video, 5 minutes ago, he said this guy knows ball. All right, I know
Yeah.
ball.
Well, so do I.
And there's my one swing. If you're going
So
for
do
the
I.
fences, you fucking take Ben Johnson and you run that shit and give him all the money you want.
So you UT
Give
people,
him
don't be fucking dumb motherfuckers.
Give him
Just
all
so
the
you know.
money he wants.
No, you don't fucking give him a blank check. He's never fucking done the whole deal.
That's fine.
Why is he really good? Because he concentrates on one
Because
thing.
he's a guru, and the guy he's underneath has showed him how to build the right culture. Every guy that's a guru, he becomes a guru and becomes a head coaching candidate. That's the difference about Ben Johnson. Everyone, when they are that hot guy, they're that guy for the year, but they aren't around a culture like him. Ben Johnson knows what it takes culture-wise.
I mean, Dakota does have a pretty fair point though, because he's been.
I'm not worried about him setting a culture. I'm really not. You see him on the sidelines of a game, he's damn near more fired up than Dan Campbell. He's running up and down the sidelines.
But he's got one job to do.
He's
got one job.
I get that.
One
but every
job.
coach that goes to the NFL, they want to be a head coach. He's ready.
So as a Bears,
he's more qualified
Okay.
than any first-time head coach in the last
and
5 years.
and I'm not in Dakota. There, you are 120% right. But as a Bears fan, I mean, as a Bears fan, and as a, I would say a smart Bears fan, we got to build something, and that's not with a guy that's never done it.
But why? But no, that's where I think you're bass backwards. Because why would you want to build something with a guy like Carroll that's only going to be here 3-4 years, and then you have, even if you have a culture set, a guy's going to come in and set a whole different culture.
No,
They don't keep
no.
No locker room stays the same. None.
Which I agree with you.
So you can't bring in a guy like Carroll for 3 years and then hope a guy like Ben Johnson's there. Ben Johnson's ready to be that guy to be married to Caleb Williams for the next fucking 10 years. There's no other coach right now. Or you know what? Aaron Glenn. He's seen more football.
I don't think
give me
that
the DC at Detroit.
I don't think he can take over this organization and make it right. You need somebody that's been there and done it.
No, because those guys are gonna have too much say, and the organization won't let that happen either. They won't. The organization won't let a guy like Vrabel come in and have the one that he wants to say.
So why do you think they're going to have
Kevin Warren literally said, we want to be the focal point. We don't want the coach to be the focal point. He said that himself.
So then why do you think it's going to work out for fucking Glenn? That makes no sense.
Your own president of operations said they don't want an established guy like that.
So
then
why would he want to come to Chicago then?
You're not making much sense here. Do you get what I'm saying though?
No,
what I'm saying is your own president of operations said they're not good. They're not looking for a guy like that, like what you want. Kevin Warren said himself, they don't want a guy that's bigger than the organization. An established coach is that. They don't want that. That's why
he's right. He's right. That's exactly what Kevin Warren said. And really,
right, but AJ, but we're not talking about Bill Belichick here. We're not talking about him.
Mike Vrabel literally got fired from the Titans because he was mad about a draft decision. They're not going to want a Mike Vrabel in here having draft decisions.
All right, fair enough. I just think the Bears need to fucking change this thing up.
With Ben Johnson.
No, I don't. I disagree with that.
I know you do.
Hey,
That's why it's
listen
fun.
up. Hey, but before we get into our picks for the games tomorrow, Dakota, let's just touch on this real quick, because we just talked about this last night, Dad, and I think that we all agree on this one. Is Kevin Warren a fraud?
Yes,
I don't think so.
100%. What?
I think he's. No.
Whoa,
Can
okay.
you let me speak?
Okay, no, you're right. Whoa,
Relax.
Whoa. I will whip your ass.
Relax.
I
Okay?
will whip your
I
ass.
don't, but still have some. Come on, there's respect over here.
Okay, okay.
He has too much say. He should not be involved in the coaching decision. But what he is brought here to do, he did it well in the Big Ten. He ran the Big Ten well.
Fair enough.
He built
Yes.
Minnesota a
Yes.
damn good stadium that hosts things every year. He's gonna figure out the stadium.
So-
I get we hate the reason he's going at it, but he's going at it with politics the way he
So
is. He's done it
I was
before.
going to retract my statement when you fucking said, "What the fuck, dude?" Jesus Christ! I was going to retract it and say, "Here's I
He has
was
too much say.
say, okay, but what do you mean by a fraud?"
He has too much
But you
say.
didn't let me say it because I jumped over you. So.
Okay. Exactly.
So,
Uh,
AJ, what do you mean by fraud?
No, that's what he means. He means
Well, last night when we spoke on the phone, we talked about how originally he was here to do one job, and that is to build the stadium, presumably in Arlington Heights, and
Yep.
that might not even be the case now. We don't know where the stadium's going to be, and we haven't seen any movement on the stadium since
Yep.
he's been here.
Yep.
and we hate politics, but there's a reason for that.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Well, yeah, I mean, this
That's
is what
why they played that game right away to get the tax break that they wanted. And Arlington Heights
Which
said,
you should have.
and they said, "Oh, we're not giving it. We're not giving it. We're not giving it." And months later, the Bears just were quiet, and then all of a sudden it came out. Oh, they got the tax break they want.
Yep.
I am not worried in the slightest about that. I don't at this point build the stadium wherever the fuck you want. They're gonna build one of the nicest stadiums. That
Well,
you,
here's the thing. I told Dad on the phone
Look-
last night because I was looking this up as I was talking to him. If the stadium is in Chicago, it'll be publicly owned. The Bears won't own it.
no, because they have to buy the land. No, it won't.
No,
be.
because it would go literally right behind Soldiers Field right now. It would still be on the
Yeah,
Park
which I-
District.
But did
I don't think
did
so.
you watch his interview too? They said wherever they would build it, it would be owned by the Chicago Bears. And that's why they're asking for investors outside of the city, because the city already said even if they come back to Chicago, they're not investing in the stadium.
Well, right, but I mean,
Either way, I think they're going to own a plot of land no matter
'Cause
what. I
AB
really do, but-
because
Hey,
I
I'm not
read
wor- he-
It should be Arlington Heights.
I was
and he
when I
said
was
it himself
talking.
that he said it himself that the Chicago Bears are gonna own their stadium. I don't think he's gonna let that happen.
Well, when I was talking to Dad on the phone last night, I was reading it straight from like Chicago's ABC and NBC network.
Oh.
It did come out that it would be publicly owned. It wouldn't be owned by the Bears. Like that came straight from ABC and NBC Chicago.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes because that's not gonna happen.
But I mean, that's just it too. Like you gotta this was the last point that I made to Dad on the phone last night was that you do gotta understand there's a lot of politics that have to be played for a new stadium to be built, right? And like
and that's why I have absolutely 100% faith in him. He showed and did all the shit they had to go through in Minnesota with those taxes and getting funds for that stadium. There was way more leaps. Even if the Bears stay in Chicago, they had more issues with building Minnesota's stadium. That's why I have complete confidence. Even fine, if it's going to end up wherever it ends up, I have confidence with him building the stadium. Because Minnesota, the amount of problems they had with that stadium building, and he had still got it done with no issues. And then getting the Big Ten and the way he got the Big Ten through the COVID bullshit. I'm not worried about that. I don't know why at all he is in any kind of coaching hire at all. Like
because-
that shouldn't be there. But that's because the McCaskies want that.
Are we still live?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Well, no, dude. Well, we talked about this last night too, Dad. Was the interview process is already so fucked up because there's at minimum there's 7 people involved in each of these interviews. It's the
Yes.
McCaskies. It's,
Yeah. Why?
it's
Yeah. Yes.
HR is involved already. Like
Yeah.
it's
Why
like,
is that?
yeah, there's no.
100%.
And that's why I don't have faith in the coaching hire, but makes for interesting talk.
I agree. I totally agree. You
But
know,
yeah, I really do. I really do hope that, you know, the way that Warren's playing the stadium is that it all is just a smokescreen because he said that he is adamant that there will be shovels in the ground by the end of 2025.
Whatever happens at the stadium, I'm good with. I don't care. It's better than Soldier Field, and it's going to be domed, and we're going to be caught up with the times.
I just
I'm
want
not worried about that.
I just want that fucking Arlington Heights.
Yeah, you own your whole plot, but
Yeah, that's your whole man. Everyone that goes there, they gotta
why
pay
do
you.
Why do you think they still haven't released any kind of true renderings of a downtown one? They did the one that they did just like Arlington Heights.
Right. Yep.
They're not.
Yep.
I still think they're doing Arlington Heights, man.
I
They're
do
just playing
too.
the-
What?
You know,
Good point.
it took
I
like
think so,
3 years
Dakota.
to. Hold on.
Yeah, I think so too.
Bluetooth. It took like 3 years for Minnesota to even get or 2.5 years for them to get a shovel in the ground. So
Yeah. No, I think Dakota's right. They're playing a long game, which you should because.
but that
Okay.
should be the only thing he's worrying about.
Right. Yeah. Not a fucking head coach.
Yeah, he shouldn't even be consulting in those interviews.
100%. Or nor should Why is HR even? That makes no fucking sense. I'm like, dude. When I hire people, my HR is not even included at all, and I'm just a supervisor. What the hell is going on with that?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it leaves a lot to be desired for sure. Like I just think that you need it. I don't care who it is. I just want a proven coach that can set a culture. Like that's all I want. I just want
And that's my point. That's my point with these three guys I want. And Ben Johnson, you got to let him go. You have to.
I think he's the only non-head coaching experienced coach though that could set a winning culture. There's no other first-time guys that could set it.
Dakota. I don't think you're wrong.
I'm not saying he will.
No,
but that is who I want.
But I'm not saying you're wrong.
That's
with
who
that.
I want first, selfishly, because I know no matter what, the Bears are always going to have a decent defense.
Yeah.
We've never had a good offense, and you have to score in this league. So
Yes.
if that's what we're going to do, go for Ben Johnson.
100%.
If not,
But-
give me Ron Rivera then. That's
but-
fine. That's fine.
I
don't want Pete Carroll. Ron Rivera could at least be with fucking Caleb for the next 5, 8, 7 years.
But
Pete
Ron
Carroll's
Rivera,
going to die in 10 years. He won't be here for Caleb in 10 years.
But
He'll
listen,
be in the ground.
But listen, no, we want the guy that's going to be for 2-3 years and set that standard, and then you go on.
I do, but then again, no matter what, whatever coach that comes in after him, coaches, they're all selfish in the sense that they all want to have their own culture. So no matter what was set, even if they just went to an NFC Championship the year before, that coach is going to want to come in and bring in a whole different standard, a whole different way of operating, and those guys might fucking hate it, and then they'd suck.
But we just need someone that can actually set a standard, and we have zero standards in Chicago.
No, and it worries me that Ryan Poles continuously says we have that. No, we don't.
No. We talked earlier.
We have no shot. There's no shot.
You're just lucky that your quarterback was competent enough to not make it look
we
that
have
bad.
zero culture when it comes to the Bears. Zero.
Yeah, I can't believe we even beat the Green Bay Packers once.
I know. Thank God. Well, it should have been twice.
Yeah, block field goal away. Son of a bitch. Oh well, we suck. They're playing in the playoffs tomorrow.
Yeah, and by the way, the field goal in Green Bay was longer than the field goal at home. By the way.
Yeah, well, the Bears still suck, and you know what?
Yep.
Maybe next year I'm gonna buy a shirt that says the Bears still suck, and I'm gonna wear that until we become good again. I don't know, maybe it sucks.
Yeah, it might not be too far off, but I think the Bears need a coach that can actually just turn things around a little bit here and just, you know what? Here's how we do this. And there's no bullshit, well, I don't want to do this. No, fuck that. Here's how we do it. And that's a Pete Carroll. That's a Ron Rivera. That's a Mike Vrabel. That's what they do. Because they don't fuck around and say, well, I don't want to do it. I give a fuck what you want to do.
I want Vrabel because he was still keeping up with the times, and he was fired because of decisions that he didn't like of the draft, and he had just led them to 2 out of 3 AFC title appearances.
Yeah, but honestly, Dakota, do you think that if you hired a Carroll, that he would not have in the times OC?
Well, you just don't know. You
You know,
I mean, look at Belichick. He's setting up his college the exact same way he set up his NFL program 20 years
100%.
ago. So he can't get away from it. Some guys can't. That's why I'm worried about
Right.
like Pete.
right.
even Ron Rivera, he's been away from coaching now 3 years.
But we just need that guy to get us get us set. And again, when you hire a coach right now, you're not hiring a coach for the fucking next 20 years. You're hiring a guy for the next fucking 3 to 4 years.
Well, you hope not, though.
Unless it's Ben Johnson. I agree with that. I think that if it's anybody other than Ben Johnson, that head coach will not be here more than 4 years.
Why would you be looking at a head coaching hire that way? Because that's bad for your quarterback.
No, because our organization is so fucked up.
I know, but that's still just going backwards.
No, it's really not going backwards. Our organization is so fucked up.
I can't believe I'm the only one that's sitting here hoping to hire a guy for the next 10 years for your quarterback, and you guys are wanting a guy that's going to shuffle in 3.
I didn't put a time frame on mine. I didn't even put a time frame on mine. I just said I want someone who's been there, done that. I don't care if they're.
I just want to win. I don't want a guy that's going to be here for 3 years and leave.
I'm with you.
You know, I want a guy that's going to be married to my quarterback, like Bill fucking Belichick, like Joe Burrow and his coach is going to be, like Mahomes and Reed are. I want that.
Well, I do.
And Pete Carroll will be dead before year 5.
Right, but that's not what's going to happen with the Bears, because the Bears are so far back. They are so
I'm
backwards.
not saying I'm expecting Ben Johnson to come here next year and win 12 games. It's going to take 2-3 years to win with him even. But I want a guy that's going to marry with our quarterback for the future. I don't want to have to be thinking about it.
And I'm not saying you're wrong.
I don't want to be thinking at all.
See, this is
capacity.
This is just the problem that the Bears organization has created. Is you're either looking at getting a guy who could be married to your quarterback for 10 years, or getting a guy that could set a culture and be here 3 to 4 years. That's the problem that the organization's created.
The first one should be the only one, though. You hire a guy in any process that you want to be around for a long time.
To be fair,
no matter what.
To be fair, I think any competent organization goes that way. I think any competent organization 100% would go.
It's time the Bears start. Now I may be swinging and missing on Ben Johnson, but you know what? I would rather take Ben Johnson at this point, a guy like that, over a guy like Pete Carroll that's been out of coaching for 6 years. In the last 3 years of his tenure, they had a losing record. He was on his way out for a reason. I'm sick of the reuse, reduce, recycle. And I get.
But okay,
hold on. We talked about earlier. No,
so
the NFL's like that. No, so I'm saying the NFL in general. Dan Quinn just got another job. Mike McCarthy got another job.
But our last coach was the reuse, recycle.
I'm saying in general.
Okay.
Are you listening to me speak?
I totally am.
I don't want to. I'm not going to sit here and talk if you're just bypassing half what I'm
talking about. I totally am. But was the last time the Bears did that?
That's what I didn't say the Bears. I said the NFL's norm. Every coach gets reused, reduced, and recycled. They get multiple opportunities. Why? And those multiple opportunities keep failing. Why does I don't want that norm.
I mean, he does have a point though. Like I understand what he's trying to say. Like when a coach is successful and then his success has ran out, then he shouldn't have.
What about Dan Quinn?
If his was a rare case that worked, and me and AJ were talking about that earlier. A rare case that worked.
So you can't say it's reuse, recycle, because look at Dan Quinn.
No, we are because that fits into that stereotype.
Because he's
one of the few that worked out.
I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, because he still got reused and recycled. He just went back to Dallas. Like that's the only reason why that worked.
But some teams need a serious structure.
His worked. He was also still coaching in the league as a DC after getting fired as a head coach. Pete Carroll has not been in the league for 4 or 5 years 3 years now, 3 seasons for a reason. Not even a consultant with a team. Nothing. There's a reason teams in the last 3 years. How many coaches get fired every year? There's at least 6 head coaches every year, at least 4 or 5 coordinators. There's a reason he has not been on a team at all since leaving Seattle.
Because he don't want to be.
But to say now to just come back and be, I don't like that. It doesn't work out typically. And Dan Quinn is one of few that worked out.
I just want someone to come into the Bears and just set a fucking standard.
At least Vrabel has still been on staffs and still involved. Carroll hasn't. He's been enjoying his beach vacations, which as he should when he's retired. But just stay in retirement. Your course ran out, Pete. Even in the last 3 years, when he was essentially the GM of that team too, and it was not working the final 3 seasons.
I'm just saying, I don't care if it's him, if it's.
Yes, I want a culture, but I don't want a culture in an 8-8 team.
I want an experienced coach coming into the Bears to get this shit fucking set right. That's it. And it ain't Ben Johnson. It's not.
Well, you're gonna be disappointed when they hire him then.
Well, and I guess that will be.
Because that's who they're gonna hire.
Because it's no. First off, the Bears won't do it. Secondly, I want an experienced coach come in and start putting this ship to the fucking left.
To be fair though, I do think Dad's right when he says that the Bears wouldn't hire him, because I think the list of demands that he's gonna make to be like, here's what I want to take this position, I don't think the Bears would agree to that.
The thing that's playing into his favor there is Ryan Poles is now also playing with desperation. So if he sees Ben Johnson as the best fit, he will make sure the Bears throw anything at him.
But let's talk about that for a second, AJ. So do you want a fucking coach coming in that's never been a head coach and giving all these fucking demands saying, I want this, I want that, I want that. Okay, what if you fucking prove to me now, Ben Johnson?
The only demand...
No, hold on. You prove to me one thing, that you can perform really well under a head coach. You've never proved that you are a head coach.
The only thing he asked
Come on.
The only thing that was rumored was about him wanting his own GM, and 80% of coaches want to be paired with their own GM. That's not out of the norm.
Which I don't think you're wrong, Dakota. But
he just wants that and a lot of money.
But a lot of money.
We just gave that to Craig Counsell, and we went backwards last year.
No, we actually didn't go backwards. We just stayed exactly the same.
No, I'm not.
But
he
was paid that kind of money to do it instantly. That's my point.
I'm not saying
it didn't happen instantly.
But the thing is, when it comes to football, you got 17 games. That's it. 17 games and you're done.
Yeah.
And if this guy comes in and he demands this stuff, okay, what have you proven to demand it as the head coach? Zero. Fucking zero.
Ron Rivera was fired twice and is out of the league.
But I'm telling you,
Pete Carroll's
what has
out
Ben
of the league.
Johnson? What has Ben Johnson proved?
But what are those guys that have been out of the league for years now going to do to help your quarterback? It's not going to develop them. It's going to go backwards. And when they do hire that guy and Caleb does go backwards because they're too worried about culture and not just winning football games.
There's no way he could have went anywhere fucking wrong after this year. There's no fucking way. No, there's no way.
Caleb still had a decent rookie year himself.
That's my point. So there's no way Caleb is going to regress.
I don't want a Ron Rivera that's been fired twice anymore. I don't want to go through this cycle. Ben Johnson has been sought after for multiple years now for a reason.
Right. And which
just like McVay came out of a coaching tree, just like Shanahan came out of a coaching tree.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
It's time for Dan Campbell to start his coaching tree, and it's going to be Ben Johnson of the Chicago Bears.
And I hope that's not the case.
I just, like I said, I don't care who it is. I just want somebody to come in, set a culture, and get the nose of the ship pointed in the right direction, because we've been going in reverse for over a decade now.
AJ, this is not a fucking 1-2 year process. That's my point. This is a fucking 4-year process. Exactly. This is why you bring in an established coach to get the shit set right, and then you move on.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at Detroit. Dan Campbell wins.
But we have to.
No, I'm saying no team ever in NFL history has operated like that. The Bears aren't going to hire a guy to bring him in for 3-4 years. That's just not going to, like, I know that's what you want, but that's not going to happen.
Okay, we'll see.
That's not going to happen.
But look at
if we're firing a guy in 3 years from now, if we're hiring a new coach, Caleb Williams-Wallace will be gone.
Well, yeah, I mean I think that's really obvious. But I mean, look at you're right. Dan Campbell needs to start his coaching tree now, because look at when he started his first year, they were 13-3, then they were 8-8, then they were 9-7, and then they were 10-4, and then 13 what was their record this year? 15-2.
Yeah, well, Dan Campbell came out of nowhere though. They got lucky.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But if we're gonna go a young mind, it better be Ben Johnson and Ben Johnson only.
I agree with that. If it's a young mind who's never been a head coach before, I do think that Ben Johnson is your only option.
Even though he's gonna come in wanting a high dollar amount, the Bears are still going to be able to control a guy like that because he's not been a head coach before. That's what they want. He said it himself. In an interview, you don't just say that and not want that then. They've said that's what they want. A guy like that, they'll be able to control. They'll be able to push and steer him a certain way because he hasn't been a coach before.
I mean, that's
what we do.
That's fine, but you could steer and push him, but you still need to allow him to be a coach at the end of the day. Like, I think that's the big problem, is that the Bears brass has their hands in every single cookie jar from them down. They have it with Warren, they have it with Poles, they had it with Eberflus. You need to take ownership out of the outside of sending their paychecks. You need to take them out of the fucking equation. Just let your men do their jobs. And the McCaskies don't do that.
Yeah, and that's why they won't hire a guy that has previous experience, because he's going to tell them, no, fuck off. This is how you run a team. That's why they won't hire someone like that, but we'll see. In a few short weeks, we will see a new head coach.
Yeah, either way, good, bad, or different, we're going to find one.
Over, under. You'll hear that announcement 1 week after the Super Bowl.
Over, under what?
Like, do the Bears make that announcement within a week of the Super Bowl?
No.
Oh no, I think it'll be before. Seriously.
No, it can't be before. They can't hire a guy in the middle, like if they're talking to guys that are in the middle of the season still.
Because it won't be one of those guys that are in it.
Yeah, if they pick Ben Johnson, they can't officially hire him until like 2 days after the Super Bowl. I think that's the rule.
Because it won't be Ben Johnson. I'm telling you, it will not be Ben Johnson.
If it's Pete Carroll, this program goes backwards.
No, it does not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
He's just like Bill Belichick. His course ran dry. It's done. They're out for a reason. They weren't.
But Dakota, you're talking about going to a team that's actually going to contend for the next 4 years. You're not even close with the Bears. They're not going to contend for the next fucking 6 years. So you got to have that.
I hope that's not true, because in 6 years from now, Caleb Williams will be paid as a high dollar player.
Okay.
So if you're talking a 6-year plan, then you're at a whole different roster.
Well, then let's just say I'm fucking very hopeful in fucking 5 years. No, you gotta send this whole fucking thing on his fucking ear and send it the right way.
Wrong there. I know.
I think that next year they'd either be 8-8 or 9-7, and then like the following years when they could legitimately make like a playoff push. Like, I think that's how that's gonna play out.
There's no way it takes 5 years for them to be good. If it does, that's a huge problem. That's a problem.
Well, you gotta also understand too
that should have won 11 games.
That's just it too. They were projected to win 11 games, but also your offensive line is just as much of a problem as your coaching failures were. So you're getting the right people on your offensive line could also help a lot with that. Like just upgrading your offensive line easily nets you probably two or three more wins.
All right,
we'll see what happens.
All right, well, I'm telling you, I'm not optimistic. It's a fucking long fucking rebuild.
Trust me, I'm not optimistic either.
If that's the way you think, then Caleb Williams is not your franchise quarterback. Because when you draft a quarterback like that, you hope that your window is within that first 4 years of drafting him under a rookie contract.
I agree.
You can't be planning for 5 years from now, Dad. That's asinine. Like that is asinine.
But I'm realistic when it comes to the Bears.
No, but that's not realistic.
Yeah, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Both of you guys are exactly right, because Dakota, you're saying that you need to plan. You need to be able to plan to go to a Super Bowl within the first 4 years. You're right.
If you're planning right now to be talking about 5 years from now, you might as well just fucking send Caleb down the road now.
But Dad's also right, because it's the freaking Chicago Bears. Like that's the problem.
Why I have no faith. But
that's what I'm saying. It's a total rebuild. But
if it's a total rebuild, Caleb Williams should not be on this roster.
Totally agree.
So that's where I think you're completely wrong, because a week ago, 2-3 weeks ago, we're both talking that you have the roster. So if you have the roster already,
you have the quarterback.
No, you have a roster that could have went into the playoffs this fucking football season 100% with your skilled players.
With your skilled players, yeah. I mean, you still had to fix your glaring offensive line problems, and also too, injuries didn't help because you physically had no depth. You had zero depth. Like the minute that somebody
better be plus 500 next year.
When the Bears started having injuries, dude.
Are you on crack?
when the Bears started having injury
guess so.
problems,
I guess so.
when the Bears
I don't know
started
what
having
the issue
injury
was.
problems, they
To
had
be an 8-win team next year.
I guess so, man. I guess I'm on crack.
Yeah,
Because we won
I'm
5
with you,
this year, and 6 of those were lost because of our coach. So
Totally agree with that. Totally agree.
like the God, I just lost what I was just gonna say too. Wow.
Nope. Nope.
Oh yeah. The
Exactly.
offense and defensive line. The other problem that you have to account for is that we had no depth, so that if somebody got injured, we could have somebody plug into that position and the position still be strong. You had no depth on your offensive line or defensive line for as bad as it already was.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, right? I don't know. Bears suck.
Well, either way, time to go for fucking hockey, and then fuck that. Time to go for baseball.
Hockey, they suck.
Yeah, pitchers and catchers report in like 3 weeks, I think.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go Cubbies.
I'm excited for the baseball because it's going to be more consistent content for me because I could do it every day instead of every other day or every 3 days. So that'll work out really good for me. But yeah, before we wrap this up, you want to go over the wild card games, Dakota?
Yeah, let's go.
Dakota, since you wrote them down and I don't have them pulled up, you just list off the games and then we'll give predictions because you wrote them down and I don't have them pulled up right now.
Broncos, Bills.
Yeah, I think the Bills are going to take that one pretty easily. I think
that where's that at though?
Buffalo.
Yeah, it's in Buffalo. I think that Buffalo is going to be the only team in. Well, I think Buffalo and Baltimore are the only 2 teams in the AFC that can give Kansas City a run for their money.
All right. Well, guess what? I'm going to be the odd guy here. I'm going to say that it's going to be Denver.
All right.
I'm going Denver, boys.
Hold on. What do you got score wise? Because I think Buffalo wins that game, 28-21.
Yeah, I had 28-20.
I hit 20, but I'm telling you, I don't count out fucking Bo Nix. I'm telling you, you know, I especially on the road. But either way,
Packers, Eagles.
Saquon Barkley's gonna win that game by himself.
Eagles by 1,000.
I hope so.
I think that the Packers will get lucky in that game, just not lucky enough. I think that'll be a game decided by probably a field goal. Well, no, not maybe a field goal. Probably that might be a 10-point game. So,
I'm saying 10 points.
I don't think so, just because Matt LaFleur is a good coach and they're usually always prepared. I think it's a 1-score game.
Yeah, 10 points, right?
No, 1 score, I think.
So you're thinking like 3 or
7.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
LaFleur will keep a minute. Commanders at Buccaneers. I have Washington.
Yeah,
I like Jaden Daniels a lot.
Yeah, I think just because Jaden, even when he was injured, Jaden Daniels was so fucking mobile. I don't think that their defense has a good shot of stopping him at all. So yeah, give me the Commanders for that game too.
And then Vikings Rams on Monday. Vikings at Rams. I have Minnesota winning and going to play Detroit.
That's going to be a tough one.
Here's the thing: after what Sam Darnold just did in the last game of the season,
that's going to be a tough one. Yeah.
Man, I don't know, but it's in LA, so I really want to give home field advantage to LA.
Well, no, it's in Arizona.
Oh yeah, but LA is still the home team, so they still have more tickets.
They moved the game,
but they still have more tickets.
Oh yeah, that's right, because the Chargers played at home today.
No, because
the
Wildfires. Of LA.
Yeah, oh yeah, the Fires. Yeah.
Chargers weren't home.
Dude, I mean, you're supposed to be. Hey, are you doing this podcast or are we? You're supposed to be the guy that knows what's going on.
Yeah, that's it. I have the Vikings winning.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I do too. I think they win.
I just think that it'll be that'll be a game decided by a field goal either way.
Yeah, it'll be close.
But yeah, I'll probably go with the Vikings just because of the way that they played more consistent throughout the entire season.
Well, yeah, the Rams started 1-4.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Once they get hot, it's like, holy shit. Then you get those guys getting hot. It's like, you know.
Yeah,
but Minnesota, I mean, they're no slouch by any means.
No.
You know.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be It's going to be. I think that this playoff is going to be one of the more interesting ones. I don't see any team getting in Detroit's way. I think the only teams that can really put up a fight to Kansas City is Buffalo and Baltimore. I think those are the only teams that have a
Yeah.
shot against Kansas City.
Yep, I agree with that. Yeah, and I think it's more Baltimore. Yep, I agree with that. 100%.
All right. Well, is that it? For the first
Yeah. That would definitely wrap it up. Like I said, Dakota, I'll get a couple of different videos out of this, like the Caleb Williams talk, the draft talk, and then the coaching talk. I'll split those into other videos to upload separately. But yeah.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah, and you guys are so welcome for me to be here, just so you know.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the creator himself.
Have a great night, boys and girls.
Right on. I appreciate you guys taking time to talk with me online, because I know it's different than just us talking on the phone. So I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
totally
send it
fun.
in. We'll send an invoice.
Yeah, we will. Actually, yeah, we will.
I already got an invoice written out. So.
I'll let you know when I start making money.
Perfect. Then we're good.
All right, brother. I'm out of here.
All right,
All right, see ya.
I'll catch you guys later. And for anybody that was watching or anybody that catches this later, we will catch you in the next one.
Peace out.
All right, bye.